My name is Adrian, and 7 years ago, a friend of mine lost my hat, laughed in my face when I asked him to pay for it, and years later, that same laugh cost him a 300-kilometer road trip, a music gig, and every ounce of dignity he had left in our friend group. This is the story of how a 70-euro hat turned into the most satisfying revenge I have ever pulled off. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll be doing the math right along with me. If you've ever lent something to a friend and watched them treat it like it never mattered, if you know the specific rage of being told you're crazy for wanting what's rightfully yours, you are going to feel every second of this story. Stick around till the end because karma took its sweet time on this one, but when it arrived in style. Let me take you back. 7 years ago, I was still in my 20s, still had a full head of nights I don't remember clearly, and still had my favorite possession in the entire world. An Australian bush hat. I know how that sounds. It's a hat. But this thing was me. It went with every outfit I owned. Beer-soaked bar crawls, backyard barbecues, road trips, that hat was on my head for all of it. I wasn't precious about much back then, but I was precious about that hat. One night, a group of us, myself, a close friend I'll call Marcus, and a few others including a guy I'll call Dion, were out bar hopping. Dion was the kind of friend everyone has in their 20s. Charismatic, loud, always had a story, always about to make it big with his music. We ended the night crashing at Dion's apartment, the way you do when you're 20-something and taxis feel like a personal insult to your bank account. The next morning, we all said our goodbyes, dragging ourselves home with the particular fragility of people who made questionable decisions the night before. It wasn't until 3 in the afternoon, lying on my couch nursing a headache, that it hit me. My hat. I'd left my hat at Dion's place. No big deal, I thought. I texted him, "Hey man, bring my hat next time we hang out." He responded with a thumbs up. Simple. Handled. Except it wasn't handled. Our next hangout came and went, no hat. Forgot it, my bad. The one after that, another excuse, always delivered with that easy, unbothered charm that made it impossible to actually get angry in the moment. I offered, more than once, to just drive to his place and grab it myself. Every time, somehow, it was never the right time. I want you to sit with that for a second. I was offering to solve the problem myself, and I still couldn't get my own hat back. Months went by like this. Excuse after excuse, each one a little more colorful than the last. And then, finally, Dion delivered the line that changed everything. I lost it, man. I turned my whole place upside down. It's gone. I remember exactly where I was standing when he told me. There's a specific kind of quiet anger that doesn't come out as yelling. It comes out cold. Measured. I took a breath and said, "Okay, then I assume you'll reimburse me for it." It was about 70 euros. I want to be clear, 70 euros wasn't going to change my life. This was never about the money. It was about the principle sitting in my chest like a stone. You lost something of mine, you strung me along for months pretending you'd return it. And now the solution is simple. Dion did not see it that way. He went off. Actually went off like I'd asked him to donate a kidney instead of pay for a hat he'd lost through months of his own negligence. Are you insane? Me pay for that? Take that request and shove it. His voice had this incredulous edge, like I was the unreasonable one in this equation. Like his carelessness had somehow transferred all the responsibility onto me for caring. I wasn't a confrontational person back then. I want to be honest about that because it matters for what comes later. I let it go. I brought it up jokingly here and there, a little jab whenever Dion was bragging in the group about the money he was making from his gigs as an aspiring musician. A raised eyebrow. A must be nice, unlike some people who still owe me 70 euros. He'd wave it off with a laugh every time, like it was a bit we did together. Except only one of us was actually still annoyed underneath the laughing. Slowly, I stopped showing up to hangouts where I knew Dion would be. It wasn't a dramatic decision, it was death by 1,000 small avoidances. And honestly, the whole friend group started drifting the way groups do. People got jobs. People got serious relationships. People moved cities. The nightly bar crawls turned into the occasional group chat message and, eventually, into silence. 7 years passed. Here's the thing about friend groups, they never really die, they just go dormant. And ours came roaring back to life when one of the guys, who'd relocated about 300 kilometers away, Found out that 3 of us had reason to be in his city around the same time for a work conference. He offered to host all of us for a full week. Games, swimming, basketball, drinks, bad movies late into the night. Just like old times. Everyone was buzzing about it. Especially Dion. Dion, it turned out, had a paying gig lined up in that exact city around the same dates. Business and pleasure, all rolled into one convenient trip. Perfect timing, for him at least. Now here's a detail that matters. Dion didn't have a driver's license anymore. He'd lost it to a DUI. So when the trip logistics came up in the group chat, and my close friend Marcus mentioned he'd be riding with me, Dion saw his opening and asked to tag along too. I said, of course. Then I added the price. €103.50. For context, I never charged gas money on this route. Not once. It was already my direction, my trip, my car. And even in the rare case I did ask for a contribution, 15 or 20 euros would have been generous. So a bill for over €100 landed in that group chat like a grenade with the pin already pulled. If Dion were an emoji, he would have been that red-faced, steam out the ears one. He does not do well when things don't bend to him. He started arguing immediately. What is this? Where's this number coming from? This is ridiculous. So I itemized it for him. Right there in the chat, in front of everyone. Gas money. Tolls. The stolen hat. Years of denied accountability. It adds up. The chat erupted. The whole group was losing it, laughing, egging on the itemized invoice like it was the funniest thing they'd seen in years, which, to be fair, after 7 years of watching this slow burn resentment simmer, it kind of was. And the more they laughed, the angrier Dion got, which of course made everyone laugh harder. It's a vicious, beautiful cycle when you're not the one on the receiving end. Dion declared he wasn't paying that ridiculous price. Then came the part that really sealed his fate. He said I'd better show up in front of his place on the day of the trip if I knew what was good for me. Keep in mind, normally the person catching a ride is the one who comes to the driver, or at least meets halfway. But Dion had a car's worth of amplifier equipment and a guitar for his gig, so naturally, I was expected to come to him. I didn't respond. I just closed the chat. Let him think the deal, his version of the deal, was done. The morning of the trip, Marcus and I loaded up my car and pulled out right on schedule. No detour to Dion's place. No pickup. Just the open road, good music, and the specific kind of laughter that comes from 2 people who both know something a third person doesn't. We spent the drive debating what Dion's reaction would be. Would he panic first or rage first? Would he call or blow up the group chat? We had bets going. We didn't have to wait long. About 45 minutes into the drive, Dion posted in the group chat asking where we were, why we were running late. Marcus, laughing, typed back on my behalf since I was driving. We're already on the road. First, Dion took it as a joke. Haha, when did you grow a spine? But seriously, when are you coming to get me? Marcus sent him a photo of me, hands on the wheel, clearly mid-highway, clearly not circling back. And that's when Dion went nuclear. Caps lock engaged. A truly impressive, almost artistic stream of insults. I'll spare you the specifics, but the man was creative under pressure, I'll give him that. He was somehow calling Marcus, calling me, and typing furious paragraphs in the group chat all at the same time. It was honestly a feat of multitasking I hadn't known he possessed. The rest of the friend group, the same ones who'd been laughing at the itemized invoice, piled into the chat and poured gasoline on the fire, cracking jokes, quoting his rants back at him, which only made him angrier. It was chaos. Beautiful, self-inflicted chaos. This went on for about 15 minutes. Dion speedran what I can only describe as the 5 stages of grief, condensed into one increasingly unhinged group chat thread. And then I extended an olive branch. Pay your dues and we'll come back and get you. He tried to haggle, tried to talk the number down. I told him the price only goes up the further we drive. Since that's more distance, we'd have to backtrack. Simple economics. Eventually, cornered by his own math, he relented and transferred the full amount instantly, no way to reverse it. Here's the part I'd been waiting 7 years for. I opened my banking app, confirmed the transfer had landed, and then calmly I sent 15 euros back to him, with a message, refunding you for the trip portion. We won't be coming back for you. Just didn't feel like it. I want you to understand, I was laughing so hard in that car that I had to pull over. Genuinely had to stop driving because I could not see straight through the tears. Marcus was no better off. Two grown men, pulled onto the shoulder of a highway, laughing at a phone screen like a couple of teenagers. Dion left the group chat immediately, dramatically, like he'd done a dozen times before whenever things didn't go his way, and like every time before, we all knew he'd be back the moment he cooled down and wanted back into the group. His gig was that evening. The equipment he needed to haul was too bulky for a bus or a train, and the odds of finding someone else, last minute, willing to drive him 300 kilometers there and back, astronomically low. Here's what I've learned from all this. Some people only understand consequences when those consequences show up in a currency they actually value. Dion never took me seriously over 70 euros and a hat, not because the amount was unreasonable, but because he never expected there to be a bill at all. Sometimes the debt doesn't get paid the day it's owed. Sometimes it just waits, quietly, for the exact right moment. If this story gave you that specific, satisfying feeling of watching karma finally cash its check, let me know in the comments what's the pettiest, most satisfying revenge you've ever pulled off or witnessed. And stick around because I've got more stories exactly like this one coming.